The agenda today is for us to do Chapter 3 in lab. Like I said before, keep it. We will be using it for each consecutive in lab for Chapters 4, 5, and 6. We will also do a Chapter 3 review because we will have a quiz on Wednesday over Chapter 3. Instead of doing the times like I did before on the last quiz, I will try to open up in the morning like at 8 a.m. and give you from 8 a.m. till let's say 8:30, 8 p.m. to take it because that is the way I take attendance. So I need to certify the roster by end of class time on Wednesday. So please make sure you take it by 8 p.m. on Wednesday. And also, your lab 1 is due on Wednesday. The due date for submission for your lab 1 is 11:59 on Wednesday. Any questions over the agenda and what's coming up? No? Okay. So this is the in-lab that we are going to do. Let me see if I can pull this up a little bit bigger. The stadium seating. There are 3 seating categories at a stadium for a softball game. Class A seats cost $15, Class B $12, and Class C costs $9. Write a program that calculates how many tickets for each class of seats were sold, then display the amount of income generated from the tickets. Format your dollar amounts in fixed point notation with 2 decimal places of precision, and be sure that the decimal point is always displayed. Any questions on this challenge right here? So let's start getting up what we need to know. If I split the screen, can everyone see both sides? Because I have a widescreen monitor, I just want to make sure you can see it. Okay. I started on the first one. What should the program do? It needs to get tickets sold for each seat type, needs to calculate the revenue for each seat type and total revenue, and display the results. Does everyone agree with that?
Yes.
So what do I know?
You know how much each seat type costs.
I'm going to put type A. How do you want to specify this? Do you want to put seat type or do you just want to put type? Because we're kind of creating our data dictionary right here.
I would say seat type.
Seat type. Okay. Equal to $15. And we know, let me copy this. B and C. And this is 12 and 9. What else do we know? If not, let's start. What do I need to know and how to get it?
I think we need to know the dollar amount in how many tickets were sold.
Well, we got the dollar amount, right? 15, 12, and 9, correct?
Yeah.
But you're on the right track. We got the dollar amount, but what are we missing?
We're missing how many tickets were sold.
Very good. So give me a variable that you would want to use or a data type to hold that value.
A fixed point. Would that be, I think, double?
No, don't worry about the data type right now. Don't worry about the data type right now. What placeholder would you want to hold that information?
Wait, placeholder as in, wait, what exactly?
A variable name.
Oh, how about ticket amount?
Tickets for A.
Sure.
It's B. And this represents what?
Represents how many tickets were sold for each class.
And how do we get that?
Um, I feel like is there like something else that's missing from this?
Well, this is it. This is the variable that we're missing is we write a program that asks how many tickets for each class were sold right here. We need to get that information, right?
Yeah.
Write a program that asks how many tickets. So in this class, everything that we're doing is console-based. It's text. So we're going to have to prompt the user for the input and get it for standard input, right? Prompt the user for input. We're not reading it from a file. We're not reading it from a database. We're getting it from the user, right?
Yeah.
So now we have all the information right here. We got the seeds types. What else do we know? Right now, the things we need to calculate is what?
We need to calculate the revenue for each seed type.
Revenue. In this kind of question, it's kind of confusing the way it is. The money, the tickets cost that much, but that's how much revenue they generate. So how can we generate revenue, find out revenue for A? What do we need to do?
Like for A, I think it was I think from based on the input, we have to multiply what the ticket amount was from the user input and then multiply it by the cost.
Very good. Times ticket A. And I'll just copy and paste this. Because what we're going to do for this, we're going to do it for the other two. What else are we missing?
I think we need to add the revenues together.
It'll give us the
Somebody,
grand.
chat said total revenue, so.
Okay, total revenue. Very good. Thank you. I can't see that, so thank you for speaking of revenue. Revenue. So these, remember when you did our end of last lecture, these were kind of like the data dictionary kind of stuff that we were doing. We talked about the crate. So we're just getting our information all set up. Revenue, see. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? What should the program do? We gotta have figure that out. What do I know? I have all my information. And formulas I need to calculate. And what do I need to know? I need to get this information from the user. So before I can calculate this information, I must get this. So on the prompt here. So here's our boxes. We might need more, we might need less, but I'm going to try to work ahead. So we have a title. What's the next thing we need to do?
We need to ask for what, how many tickets?
Tickets for what? Be specific. Tickets sold for?
Per class.
Not for class type A. We have to be specific. Right? Once we get that, we're good. But what else do we have to do next?
We have to take the user input and set as a variable.
Don't worry about the variables quite so far. This is just the flow of how the program runs. It's a flow chart. Don't worry about, hey, we need to declare variables here, and they have to be this type. This is just at a high level what our program needs to do. Does that make clear?
Yeah.
So right now we need to get tickets sold for type A. What else next do we have to do?
We get how many for type B
Very good. And keep going. What's next?
and C?
I want this to be very detailed because this is going to be like a checklist. Title, get this. Now that we have this, what can we start doing now?
We start. We can start doing calculations.
Calculation for revenue. Calculation for type A. What's next?
Then also calculation for type B.
B. Let's see. Oops. If I can zoom this back out. Okay. What's next?
We get the calculate the total revenue.
Calculate total. And what's next?
Then I believe you print out the results.
For short, I'll make this one. Display revenue for each class. Revenue for each class. And total. Grand total. The reason why I want to do this, see how our program right here is not this way, but very linear. It's only going one here, down here, down here, down here, and so forth. I want to make sure that everyone's that's watching these lectures and paying attention that you understand the C in and C out and the general flow of this linear line up to chapter 3, because in chapter 4 we're going to diverge a little bit to where it's not so linear like this. We might have code that executes only when certain scenarios are true. So that's why I draw these flowcharts, because eventually we're going to not have this linear diagram.
I cannot see it. Can you enlarge it for me?
Yes, I can. Is that a little bit bigger? Better?
Yes, thank you.
So right now we're going to take these flow and come up with variables and the executable part of the code. So let's go to Visual Studio. See if I can blow this up a little bit bigger for you guys. And let me move this over here. So here's our flow. And then these are some of our data definitions. So let's create some of this information right now, what that we know. We know the cost of these seats. They're whole numbers, but we're dealing with money. So what data type do you think we need to have?
Can it be double?
Double. And is there a reason why I capitalize these?
So I believe so that we know exactly what. Oh my God, what's it? I think because so that we can easily identify what the cost and the variables.
We know what they are. The reason why I put them as,
Is it because it's a constant?
that's it, the C word, constant. Because technically on some data types, I don't want them to change. So I'm going to make this as constant double. You can do flip it if you want, but most of the time it's constant double, but you can put double constant if you want. It doesn't matter. and I'm going to put seat type A, 15.
Couldn't you put a comma next to each one and then?
I can put a comma 15. You can list them out. Like I can put a comma here and do the next one, seat type B. Yes, you can. It's your preference. This is 12 and this is 9. Because you can do the list like that because they're all the same data type. Is there anything else I need right now?
I believe now you need to write C out and print to that to ask how many seats in each class.
Okay, according to our flow chart, we need a prompt. So let's go ahead and do a prompt. How do we do a prompt?
By doing C out. C
Yeah.
out. Oh wait, we also do C in.
But first of all, let's do first one thing at a time.
Okay,
C out.
C out. Please enter amount of seats for class A.
Please enter how many. Say that one more time.
Please enter an amount of seats for class A.
Type A. Okay. Very good.
Can we also? I think there was something else missing from this. I think we need to declare the variable so that we can take the prompt and store it.
So that we can what? Yeah,
We need.
you're right. I think I just want to hear clearly.
I think we kind of didn't we forget to we forgot to declare the other variables for so that when we're prompted we can store what these are.
What we want to read in, correct?
Yeah.
What data type do you think those variables should be?
Can they be double also?
Why would they be double?
Wait, no, not double. My bad. Integer.
Why? Why?
Because there's you're putting in a whole number.
Yes, because you do not sell a part of a ticket. You either sell the ticket or you don't. So it's always going to be whole. The reason why I'm asking these questions is I want you to think of why I'm choosing that data. And I can put it wherever I want in code as long as I define it before I use it. So I could define it right here and say int tickets. We called it what? Tickets A. Underscore A. As long as I declare it, I can do it anything. But I don't like it right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it up right here. You can put it wherever you want as long as you define it. So how am I going to read in this ticket A?
Think about using CN and have the two arrows going to the right.
And then what?
Ticket A, the variable.
Ticket A. And I want to show you this. What I'm going to do, ticket A, is I'm going to put a breakpoint here. These red dots right here are called breakpoints, and what they do is they pause the code so you can inspect it. Because I want you to how can I say, run it as you go. Because you shouldn't write all your code at once and then try to compile and build it. Incrementally test it as you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it right now to make sure I don't have errors.
There would be.
I'm on a Mac and it's on the Windows terminal, so when I hit the Command S shortcut to save it.
Somebody in chat said they wanted help with lab one.
Help with what?
With lab 1.
After this class, after we do this in lab review, yes, I can give them help. Do they say okay? Because I can't see the chats. Let me see. I can't see the chats while I'm doing. Please, can someone help me with? Yes, we can get help with lab 1. Well, that's just for class in general. Okay. If you need help with labs with lab 1, I'm free after class. So right now, as I'm going to run this, I'm going to go to debug, and this time I'm going to choose start debugging. So as you can see, the pause right here is at this breakpoint. It hasn't executed this code yet. But as you can see, it has all the variables right here, and you can hover over your mouse and you can see them. Notice tickets A has this weird number right here. This is local variables are not assigned a value. If you don't give it a value, it's called the garbage value. Inside this memory location, it sees this value, negative 8 point whatever, this 8589. So as I'm stepping through it, I can put multiple breakpoints and I can hit continue, and it's going to go through each part, and it allows me to inspect the variables. This is a very good troubleshooting technique because you can inspect the code and data variables as you run. So right now, it's prompting me. Let me get the prompt up. To enter, it says revenue for ticket seat sold, and notice it's on this prompt right here, please enter. It doesn't execute this code until I go past it. So I'm going to hit continue. And now it's asking me for a prompt. And so I'm going to enter in whatever 10. Notice right now, tickets A, it doesn't have that garbage value, but it has 10. So I'm going to allow it to continue. So I know my code works. It grabs that information. Let me take away these breakpoints. I just wanted to show you that because it's going to be helpful when you want to troubleshoot your program. You have to use the breakpoints and the debugger. So what is next with our diagram? What do we have to do next? We got this check title, we got this get seats A, and now we have to do what?
We have to prompt type B.
Do what?
Prompt to type B.
So let's do a shortcut. So it's easy. It's the same thing for B and C. But the only thing else is we need B here, C here, C, B. Now I'm going to tickets for C. So as we do this, let's incrementally test and run our code. I'm going to use this start without debugging. So let's do 10, 15, and 20. All right. Seems pretty simple, right? Does everyone understand what we did right now? So now we need to calculate for type A. What's our formula for revenue for A? And tell me what I need to do. Oops.
Well,
To get that information.
wait, well, isn't it you multiply the inputted the ticket amount from ticket A, then multiply it by the cost?
That's what we have right here. So we have the cost of seat A times tickets for A. But we have nothing to assign it to, right? We have no variable. Right?
Yeah. You don't.
So what variable do I need to define? We called it revenue A. Don't put revenue underscore A. Revenue underscore A. What data type should that be?
Would it be a double because you're multiplying a double by an integer?
Yes, and also we're dealing with money, so we want that percentage, correct? Because what happens in the real world if this gets changed to 15.25 or $12 amounts?
Well, I think you'll have a whole lot of decimal points.
Say that one more time.
It'll have a lot of I'll have a lot of numbers. Yeah, it'll be a very like specific number.
Yes, but we want to make sure that since we're dealing with money, we want to make sure we have data types that we are able to handle the decimal. But yes, so I'm going to do the same thing for A and B and C. So this is correct. So what do I need to do here to fix this?
I think C++ had a method to fix it for only 2 decimal points.
Yeah, we haven't got there yet. That's when you format our output. Right now we're just doing the calculations.
Oh, well, I think you do revenue A and then assign it to the calculation formula.
Notice right here, yes, and notice when I'm typing this, did you see that when I did Control Spacebar? It automatically gave me a list of options. This is called the IntelliSense. Allows me to quickly choose my variables. And then we have to do the same thing for A, B, and C. So, right now, we got A, B, and now we have to do the grand total. So, how do we do the grand total?
Adding them together.
What did they want to call it? Grand revenue. So grand revenue is equal to what?
All of the type revenues added.
Plus revenue B plus. All right, we're almost there. So far, we got no compilation errors. So now we need to display the revenue. Yeah. Revenue. I'm just calling this one. How are we going to display revenue for A?
Wait, what?
Now we have everything calculated, but we got the input, right? We processed the data. Now, according to our flowchart, we have to display the results back out. So how can we display the results back out? In the proper format. Will we want this? Format your dollar amount in fixed point notation with 2 decimal places of precision and be sure that decimal point is always displayed?
Would we use that one formula that the formula I was talking about where that it would format it? I
Well,
don't
what
know.
is it? Do we need another preprocessor directive?
Ooh, I think so for that.
Anyone else? What's the preprocessor directive we need? This is a good time for review.
Oh, it was include. I think it was.
I think it's
String.
IO man IP.
Do what?
IO man IP. I forgot what it.
IOManip. Yes, you're right. IOManip. And those three things that we talked about that we need to format is, is to force it to go was fixed, right? Fixed at decimal places because by default, doubles is usually displayed in scientific notation. We want a certain level of precision, right? It says
Set precision.
set precision. Set precision to be what?
Maybe 2.
2.
2. And we always want to have, just in case we don't have those trailing zeros, what do we need?
Wait, what?
Show point.
Trailing zeros, because sometimes, remember we did the other calculations, how it would be like 15.0. We want 15.00. It was show points. Remember that graph that said it would be good to have, to understand? Those were those three besides set width that we talked about. Fixed, set precision, and show points. This will force the decimal to always be displayed. This would say, hey, I want 2 decimal places to the right. And this would say, hey, if the calculation comes up to be 15.0, I want it to say 1500. I want those 2 zeros. So now tell me, how can I display this value, revenue A, to the console and tell it it's for seats A?
By I believe C out, and then would it be because we declared we are printing the methods we did from IO man's IP? Would it already know that how to format the number?
Say that one more time. I didn't
Would
catch it.
because we use C out on the methods above, would the console know to format the numbers how you want it?
No, no. Because remember on the slides, and we can demonstrate it, that by default, the flow doubles are displayed when they get a little bit larger as exponential numbers. So do not assume that what you entered and what you're going to calculate that what's going to be, because this right now is 15, this right here is 10, whatever we entered. But when you do the calculation, is it going to display that value in a nice formatted way?
No, it won't.
You don't want to assume. So I am forcing this block output to say, I want it to be in decimal place. I don't want to guess that it's going to be that way. I want it to be. I want to set precision. Do not assume anything when you display things that, hey, it worked this time, but maybe on the 100th time, it displays an exponential form. Do not assume anything when it comes to coding. If you can have something that's fixed and force it to be displayed that way, do it. Does that make sense? Because the numbers get bigger and so forth, do not assume that this value revenue A is going to be displayed nice and neat like these values that you typed in and what you put in the code. Remember, this right here is nice and neat as a literal. But how do we know that this calculation of these two is going to display a nice formatted number?
I
We don't, because this is an integer and this is a float, and we know from the last chapter that it's going to be forced to take a float, because remember, they the data types when you do the calculations was going to be coerced to the upper one, correct?
Yep.
So how do we know when this gets calculated, it's going to be nice and neat, stored right here?
There won't be, because you're multiplying a float and an integer, which you said that'll be automatically converted to a float.
It's going to be stored to convert. This one's going to be temporarily set to a double to do the calculation and stored as a double because we have a double variable right here. But how is it going to be stored? I mean, displayed. We know it's going to be a double, but how is it going to be displayed? Is it going to be in decimal value, or is it going to be exponential?
Exponential.
By according to documentation, it's by default exponential. But we don't want to display exponential. We want to display decimal. So that's what we learned on last class period. So how can I tell the user that this is for revenue, this is for seats A, and how do I display that value?
So you say, you could say type A, and then,
Type A revenue.
okay, sure.
And how do I display this value to the screen?
No, I'm kind of looking back at what we did before. I think does set W help? What was set W?
Set W does the column forms, nice and columns.
No.
How do I display this screen, this variable, to the screen? Don't I just use the variable name?
Wait, if we do the variable name, does that mean that what the formatting we did, it won't apply?
Let's see. Let's run it. Start debugging. Start without debugging. Oh, without debugging. I'm going to use these numbers so I can spot check it. 10, 10, and 10. Type revenue, I misspelled it because it's displayed as exactly what you want to see. The dollar sign is coming from the C out right here. And then you see the revenue. Perfectly fit formatted. Say, hey, I want the decimal. Set position gives me the 2 places to write, and show point gives me those trailing zeros.
Yes, that's nice.
Everyone see that? How nice that is? And I can easily do that for the other 2 revenue. And while I'm typing this up, how can I display the grand total?
I believe I also is it doing the same way you did for the other types?
Just like I did right on these?
Yeah, like you did. Yeah, like that. I believe it also come out because wait. I believe, yeah, it would fix as well because the grand revenue is supposed to be the actual double flow numbers added back. I believe it's supposed to also.
We'll type in 10, 10, 10, but I can choose any numbers, but it's for easy calculations. Because the first one was $15, so 15 times 10 is 115, 10 times 112 is 120, and so forth. So that's it. Congratulations, we did it. Does anyone have any questions about this? Because if you could do this, this is practically almost your lab 1. You're grabbing input from the user, except you better put comments in it. Just you have it, getting input values. I just want you to get in practice. Calculations. Display. Formatting of the output. Any questions or concerns what we just did? Let me see if anyone has any comments on the thing. No. Okay. Now let's go back to this. What's going to happen next class when you do chapter 4? We're going to worry about, input validations. What happens when the user types in bad input? Any questions so far? Do you think this was relatively easy or difficult at this point?
I think it kind of took like to get. Okay, it kind of took a little bit. I kind of didn't really like get that using the other functions from main IP, but other than that, it seems.
Okay, so everyone's getting it. Did someone post some questions? Exactly, Elaine. You have practice, practice, practice. Get used to it. Take the codes from the examples, and so once again, notice on save it. It's right here inside this. So save this file. We're going to use it over and over again. So do not lose this. I better sign on right now. Come on. And save it real quick.
So our lab 4 is due this Wednesday.
One more time. What was that?
Our lab is due this Wednesday.
Wednesday by end of day. So if you need help, you feel free to email questions with your code. And I'm going to save this off so I don't lose it. Sometimes I'm going to save this. I don't know why this is acting up here. Fall. I don't have this info.
Hey, somebody in chat said they had an issue with saving something.
Saving what? Let me just save this file real quick. Okay. Go ahead. I'll save it later. What's the question?
It's like it said.
I've had issues saving to my desktop. You had issues with the previous submission using OneDrive. I have not had a permission issue with OneDrive. Are you trying to have issues when you're trying to submit your lab? Well, we'll take it. Save that question, and we'll look at it after class. We'll look at it. For next thing, let's go quickly do a review and see how well you guys got this chapter. Let me see if I can do this for the review. Let me see.